All right, 20,000 miles. I guess we ought to do a review on the Vulcan 900. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Well, like promised, I'm going to do a 20,000 mile review on my Vulcan 900. And basically there's not a whole lot to say. The engine is stock. The pipes, also stock. The only additions that I ever made to this bike are external. I put on some foot pegs, and this is just for long riding where I can't pull over. And there's been a few times when, I've wanted to pull over, but I couldn't find a place that was safe. So this just helps me stretch my legs. I don't ride with my feet up there. And I actually could have put my feet on my crash bar, but this is safer because it's got a grip on it. Next thing I put on it was an LED light. I love that light. I also got some fog lights down here. These are very good. It takes away the blind spots in the curves and it makes it a little more safe. And the last thing, and I did do a video on this, was this cargo rack. And so far, I'm pretty pleased with it. I haven't had any issues at all. Oh, one more thing I forgot to tell you guys about. I could highly recommend this. I want to tell you is this Wind Rider seat cover. This Wind Rider seat cover, I could keep this bike in the sun all day, and even with shorts on, I could sit on this and not get burned. Also, the last time I was in, I can't remember, it may have been Guthrie, Oklahoma, when I got a hotel when it rained so hard. And this bike was just soaked. I mean, it rained all night long, and I'm in the parking lot, and my bike was completely wet, of course. And I thought, okay, I'm not going to take off the cover just to try the seat. I thought I'd just live with it. But when I sat on that seat, it was dry. I had no issues at all. So, I mean, I cannot stress how much I really like this Wind Rider seat cover. It is definitely worth the investment, and I highly recommend it. That traffic noise you hear is that's 79. We are in the pullover about 6 miles west of Rockdale. So today I'm going up to Fort Parker, look at the state park there, and that'll be another video. I just want to let you know what I'm doing right now. On longer trips, like my trip, well, anything over a couple of 100 miles, I could get about 41 miles to the gallon. When I'm just tooling around town, I get about 45 miles to the gallon. That's pretty nice, and that's been consistent since we've owned the bike. So the bike was originally my wife's. We bought it about 3,500 miles on it from a dealership, and my wife bought it because she wanted to be able to keep up with me on my Harley. I subsequently sold my Harley, and she didn't want to really ride this bike anymore. It was a little bit too big for her just because of how wide the seat is. So I sold my Harley, and I didn't know what kind of bike I was going to get. We were going to sell her a bike. I was riding it around, and I said, man, this is very comfortable. It will do the speeds I want to do that I've been doing on the Harley anyway. So I decided, well, I'm gonna keep it and ride it around a little bit and see if it's good for me. And it turned out to be very good for me. Have had no issues mechanically except for the following. Actually, this happened when my wife still owned the bike, and this is a mechanical issue. Somebody had changed out the rear brakes and didn't tighten down the bolts, so the whole mechanism was shifting. So luckily I was riding it, and when I put my rear brake on, I noticed a clunk, and I took it in. It was just a loose bolt there. If y'all watched my Iowa video, you notice that I had an overflow on the radiator, and also my bracket on my light broke. The radiator overflow that we had on my trip to Iowa, I'm going to attribute that to an air pocket. One of the things that kind of irked me when I was on the road was that, it took me 2.5 days there to get there. It would take me 2 to 2.5 days to get back, depending on how I was feeling. And all I wanted to do was change the radiator cap, and then I was going to go. So I kind of held off changing the fluid in my bike because I didn't want to have to pull this tank back to get to the radiator cap to fill it, and then have to do it again to fill it again. Plus I had like maybe about 1.5 gallons in there, and I didn't want to risk having like 5 gallons in here. That's a lot more weight. By the way, you do not have to completely remove the tank just to get to the radiator. You can pull it back, but you got to be careful not to, break anything when you're doing it. So I should have done a video on that. I didn't. I'm sorry. I thought I was going to get to do it twice, but it never happened. The other issue is this light breaking. Now, I do not think it was from metal fatigue, because when I got the bike up, I know about a fall that this had. My light was bent, had a big old notch in it. So I bought the whole assembly. When I was changing this out, all I did was I just changed the rim, and that made it look good. So I said, okay, I'll just save that for later. And as it turned out, I needed it. So I already had one of those at home, fortunately, but I'm not going to blame that on metal fatigue, because I know of something that happened to the bike when we were owning it. When I put that light on, I could never get it to line up right. It was always high and to the right. And now I'm thinking that's probably why it is, because I put it back here, and now it's perfect. So I'm not going to blame those on the bike. The only thing that really irked me is that I wanted to put on a new radiator cap, which is a very common radiator cap for Kawasaki products. They have it on their Mule, and they got all kinds of UTVs, and of course they have it on this bike. So I was astounded when I couldn't find one in Iowa, and I had to order it from Amazon. As it turned out, Amazon failed me too. So what I decided was that I'm going to ride with the old radiator cap, and I filled it up. I strapped the bottle of Prestone to the back of my bike, and I decided that if I'm going to have an issue, I'll just fix it on the road and see if I can get as close to home as possible. And since then, I haven't had any issues. So now that's why I think it was air in the system, as opposed to like a bad radiator cap, which they rarely go bad, or a bad thermostat or anything like that. So I don't blame that on the bike. It's just bad luck. It was just bad luck, you know, and I should have just filled it up. I could have had a better time and not been so worried about it during the trip. Anyway, that is my overview of my 2018 Vulcan. 20,000 miles plus on it right now, and I'm going to see if I can put another 20,000 on it. I am very religious about the maintenance schedule. I follow it, especially oil changes. As a matter of fact, when I went to Iowa, I went ahead and did my oil change early, because I would have hit the mileage limit on an oil change while I was up there, and I didn't want to mess with it. So I just did it. I did it actually about 1,000 miles early. And the bike basically runs as good as it ever did since the first time I swung my leg over this. There's been no degradation in performance at all. So as far as speed, you're always going to be faster than some people, and people are always going to be faster than you, no matter what speed you're going. And I keep it at about 70 to 75 miles an hour. And if I'm cruising, I'm not paying attention, I'll get it to 75. And I'll leave it there. I could easily do 80 miles an hour, and I have enough torque to do it, but I like to have something in reserve in case I need to speed ahead for some reason. So that's the reason I keep it at 75, and I'm extremely comfortable, and that's just fast enough for me. So that is my overview of my bike. Much cheaper than a Harley. Oh, and it used regular gas, and you can't beat that with a stick. So that's it for me today, and I will see you in the next video. Hopefully it'll be a video on Fort Park or State Park. We'll see what comes up.